more, let's bring in Reince Priebus, Fox News political analyst and former RNC chairman, along with Fox News contributor and American radio show host Richard Fowler, the dream team here with me on this Saturday. I want to get to the midterms in just a second, you guys, but I want to start with the 180 that Jill Biden pulled on the Democrats, actually, have left them sort of wondering, why are you even talking? Let's play the bite here. The before and after on how she felt about her husband's performance on the debate stage that infamous day against Donald Trump. Watch this.
You did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
Okay, so Richard, just be real with me. Is Joe Biden a liar? Somebody's lying somewhere.
They could be. Let me just say this about this Joe Biden sort of story that has emerged itself. I don't think Democrats want to be talking about it. The Biden administration ended in 2024. Kamala Harris lost that election. And with that being said, I think if you look at the Democratic autopsy, what people are complaining about in the Democratic autopsy is the fact that this portion, the ideal of switching candidates midterm, the ideal that maybe Joe Biden shouldn't have run for a second term, are all missing from the autopsy. While there's a lot of folks on the ground saying this autopsy didn't do the job it was supposed to do, and right now Democrats are focused on winning in places like Iowa, in places like California, and they do have a message to run on. We just saw Grady Trimble talk there about what's happening to Iowa's farmers. Right now, 46%. There's a surge in bankruptcies amongst farms. Fertilizer's up 100%, almost 100% because of the war in Iran, and that's what Democrats want to be talking about.
And that is very important, but I think everyone is talking about this sort of 180, Reince. I mean, you brought up the autopsy report. I think that's a really good point. I think it makes this whole thing about the autopsy report coming out late and leaving out all these incredibly important details about the president's age out of it. I think it makes it a whole lot worse, right? When she comes out and all of a sudden she realizes, oh, yeah, he did a terrible job. In fact, I thought he was maybe drugged.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They wrote an autopsy, and they forgot the most important part, which is what was the cause of death? I mean, they left it out. But as far as this is concerned, look, I mean, here's the problem on the Republican side. I mean, these Democrats chased after Donald Trump like a Netflix crime series, and yet when it comes to this issue, they completely lied. I mean, it's the lies stupid. I mean, that's what this is about. And so they conspired together. It wasn't just that they said, oh, he's okay. I mean, the DNC, Kamala Harris, all the Democrats said that he was sharp as a tack. He's got it together. He's great behind closed doors. And then when the Her report came out and said that Joe Biden committed a crime, the conclusion was, even though he may have committed a crime, he's not a competent witness in this case because of his memory, because of all the things that we're talking about now. So the real issue now is that the DOJ is looking at wanting to release the video of these interviews. And now when privacy had nothing to do with it when it came to Trump. Now we were talking about a right to privacy. So they said he's great behind closed doors, but now they want to shut all the doors and move on. Yet, you know, Joe Biden is out there trying to sell books.
Well, and apparently Hunter is too, maybe. Richard, what are the Bidens doing? Why are they still talking? Why are they out there?
I think that Reince wants us to talk about Joe Biden instead of wanting us to talk about the economic outlook, which most Americans are thinking about in this moment. The 2024 election already happened. We know who occupies the White House. We know who controls both levers of powers in the Congress, the building right behind you, Ashni. And here's the truth of the matter. Voters are saying, I could care less about Joe Biden. I can care less about Joe Biden, but I do care about the fact that the rent is too high. I do care about the fact that the hospital in my neighborhood is closing down because of these cuts to Medicaid. And I think that is the argument that Republicans have to deal with. Instead of us talking about Joe Biden, mind you, I will say she's trying to sell books, so we're talking about her anyway.
Okay, let's talk about the midterms. Actually, we have a
right, and they're going to have to talk about the economy, and those guys are going to have to talk about the economy with Nazi tattoos on their chests, with talking about God being non-binary. So you can talk all you want, but the fact of the matter is, in a midterm election, it comes down to candidates.
It does.
And you guys have got.
And our candidates are winning in every poll that I've seen recently, Reince.
If you're any more left of center, you'd need a passport to get back to the middle. So that's what you're dealing with.
Okay, let me really quickly get to this because we're running out of time. We've got a midterm redistricting tracker, you guys. Let's put it up on the screen here. A lot of states still at play here, but Louisiana just passed a new map that could give Republicans an extra seat here. Florida, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama maps are still in progress. A couple lawsuits out there waiting for final passage. Reince, to you, Justice Clarence Thomas, I don't think has issued a stay yet on the lower court blocking that new map there in Bama. Is that a bad sign for the GOP out there?
Well, I mean, it's not a great sign. I mean, you can't, you have to actually go to the Supreme Court now and win that case. But if you look at the reality on redistricting, I mean, this has fallen in the Democrats' face. I mean, even the Cook report yesterday, after all the redistricting battles and without a conclusion in Mississippi and no real conclusion here in Alabama, without that, Republicans are looking at 210 safe. Democrats at 207 safe. That leaves 18 seats up for grabs. And I think Richard knows as well as I do that even in those 18 seats, you've only got about 3,000 votes up for grabs. That's 54,000. And the Republicans have a 10-to-1 money advantage. I'm not saying that the wind isn't at our face, because in a midterm it usually is with the president in power. I'm just saying things are a lot different than what you may appear to be.
Okay, Richard, quick response, and we got to go.
Listen, I don't think Reince's math is mathing there, and I'll tell you why. Because if it were, right, and if it was supposed to be so easy for Republicans to win this midterm election, they wouldn't be busy redrawing maps all across the country. Truth of the matter is, what it's going to come down to for voters, whether you live in Alabama, whether you live in South Carolina, or whether you live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, how am I doing? Is my life better than it was yesterday? And for many of those Americans, the truth of the matter is it isn't. They're seeing their rent going up, they're seeing they're seeing health care go up, and for many of America's farmers, like we said at the beginning, they're worried about their farm going into bankruptcy because the cost of fertilizer has doubled under this administration, and the administration doesn't seem to have answers. Donald Trump said himself, I don't really care about affordability right now. I'm focused on making sure Iran doesn't have a nuke in the Iran quagmire that we currently continue to be in.
National security. Okay, Reince, Richard, thank you very much.
And yet the generic ballot is 50-50.
There we
we'll
go.
See. We'll see.
There we go.
See.
We still got a ways, 5 months, 5 months away. Thank you both very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.